Well, this is a desolate and morose looking sight, isn't it? All this rain and water and all the rocks and everything. It may look a little bit familiar to you. And in fact, as we go up the hill to the great house of Collinwood, where the family of the Collins lives in fear of something that's going on in their mansion and possibly in their nearby crypts. Meanwhile, down below, in the small fishing village of Collinsport, where many fishing trawlers are constantly out working, the residents are going to bed very uneasily because there's something in the woods that has a thirst for human blood. Dun dun dun! Hello, everybody. This is Greg29407 back with another episode of City Skylines, and we're doing our final episode on a little review of a map I've been working on for about 80 to 85 hours now. It's not Collinsport, although this is part of it. It is called Shadow Falls, and it encompasses quite a good size part of the map. The whole idea behind Shadow Falls is I want to do something very outside of my comfort zone when I'm doing a city. I wanted to do a smaller town. I only have 51,000 residents. Do a smaller town, and I wanted to make it a series of small towns that are all connected, interconnected. I decided to go with northern Maine. Maybe not really northern Maine in real life because I've never been there, but northern Maine from TV and books and things like that. And I wanted to have a bunch of small towns connected by rail and by ferry. If you've watched my other videos before on City Skylines, you know that I don't really use a lot of passenger rail, and I always kind of ignore the water. I build on rivers, but I always have my town facing inward, and the backyard is facing the river. I want to do something very different this time. I wanted to really embrace the rivers and the water and things like that. And I wanted to make kind of a creepy area, kind of dark and foreboding. So I've got the fog cranked up, and I've got the rain. It's always raining. I want everything very wet. Our most recent DLC for this game is the Sunset Harbor, which has a lot of fishing, small fishing things. I said I want to do that too. So that was a very natural type thing for me to do, put on all these little small fishing villages in one big area. So what I've done as I was building this town is I did a series of short little videos as I was building it to give you an idea of where I was at, and then you can see that, and then you can see how I ended up. So the first video I'm going to show is right now. This is the video I'm going to show right now is going to be the one that shows my basic idea for this. So we will do that, and we'll come back and we'll see how close I was. Be right back. Well, here we are with our starting map. I believe this is called either Black Trees or Black Forest. I can't remember which. It came with the game, though. This isn't one of the mods I found on the workshop, although there are a lot of good games there. As you can see, I've got this thing tinted very darkly. It is a basic game, but I have used a couple of my mods on it. The main one so far being my Ultimate Eye Candy. And we're getting a lot of these messages right now, all these new buildings and stuff, which I hate. These things are a pain in the neck. They're popped up all the time. But let me show you what I've got here. I'm going to hit Shift U and Ultimate Eye Candy. And what I've done is I've taken this generic map and I've changed it quite a bit. I changed it to temperate style, which makes it somewhat darker. You have all these different categories. For weather, I got fog intensity up. I thought I had my rain intensity up as well. These turned up quite a bit because I want a lot of those type things. Day-night speed is off and everything else. So I got it very dark. I want this map to be very dark and wet. What I'm trying to do here is I'm going for a type of a Maine USA type thing going on. All the rain's coming down really nice. That's good. And I'm going for not really Maine, the real Maine, because I've never actually been there, but Maine from popular entertainment values. So I'm looking at things like Dark Shadows, The Secret World, Stephen King books, Lovecraft, all those kind of things. And so what I'm hoping for is a very somewhat desolate and morose town. We have a lot of land to play with. And my main thing is I'm going to have a main city right here in the middle here. But the main thing I want to do with this map is I want to do some things off to the side. I'm looking at replicating Collinsport from the Dark Shadows TV show, possibly over here somewhere. There's a rail line over here. Very big in fishing and in lumber. I'm also interested in doing something from the Secret World. If you ever played that MMO, they have a town called Solomon Island, which is a fishing village which is beset by all sorts of horrible creatures. I need to create some type of lagoon type, not really a lagoon, but a bay for that. So maybe I'll do that down here or somewhere like that. I'll do that maybe over here. And thirdly, if you ever saw the movie Shutter Island, which is a really, really good movie, takes place outside of Boston, somewhere around Maine or Massachusetts, with Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo. I do want to have an island somewhere here. This one may be a little too small. Maybe I'll carve an island out of this. And I have an island that's a psychiatric institute for the criminally insane, where you can only reach by ferry boat. I think it'd be really kind of cool to have. So I'm going for less traffic management on this and more of a feel and an environment that I'm going for, a very specific environment that I'm going for. So the map itself is pretty cool. We have a freeway that goes across the map from side to side here. We have another freeway that goes from here all up, and then somewhat of a connecting freeway over this way. The starting, I've got 81 tiles on, so I can go anywhere in the map I want. We also have a rail system. We have a rail that goes from this side of the map across. It goes along parallel to the freeway. We have a rail that goes this way and goes up to that way, and one that comes from way over here and on down. So it's they're on the outside of the freeways. So I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make the existing rail my cargo rail. I'm going to have my various industries attached to that. So right now I also have noticed that we have quite a few natural resources. I'm going to do an oil industry right down here. The rail is right there, so that'll be really useful to start off with. I do need to make some money. I'm on the map. I want to go for feel and environment, but I also want to make some money on here. So we will have some of that. This is the starting point, the little starting square they gave us. I have done my patented come off the freeway to a roundabout and go off to the east, west, and north kind of thing. This is all residential right now over here. And originally I set all of this up as industrial, but not a single industrial building came in. But I did have a great demand for commercial, so I said, I'm gonna do something a little different, make a big commercial area over here. I think what I may do is over here make this island more of my industrial. I have my oil fields on this side of the freeway. I've already put in this cargo dock. It has the train and the road system that goes in there, and this the rail goes to this outside rail. And I've already got some ships coming in here. I want to really do a big cargo area in here. I'm going to get some assets from the workshop that may have like cargo ships and stuff like that. And I think I'm going to have this rail go around this little island over here, maybe connect back over here, or maybe just connect back over this way. I want to do a lot of water work this time. My previous maps, if you watch me do them, I tend to ignore the water features. Not on purpose, just that, I don't really do anything with them. This time we're going to embrace the water system. Everything is going to be facing the water. I'm interested in having our brand new fishing industry that we've just added. In fact, man, I hate all these. Check out the new building. Check out the new building. Check out the new building. Shut up. Let me go to the fishing thing. Okay, so this shows what kind of fish we have. We have the salmon is the salmon color. The shellfish are the purplish. The dark blue is tuna, which I don't think we have, unless that's this. I think this is just no fish. I could be wrong about that. This maybe this is all tuna. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's just no fish. And anchovies are the yellow. So I think we're going to make this a big section for fishing This will be a big section for fishing over here. And all along up here around Collinsport, we'll be having to do a lot of fishing as well. Maybe some over here. So I think that'll be really kind of cool to have. I want to have a lot of fishing docks and everything else. I'm really, really looking forward to that. Other things I want to do, again, I want to embrace the river and the creeks and the bay and everything else. So I want to do a lot more rail this time. So what I'm thinking about doing is very quickly, but not too quickly. When you have, I'm using unlimited money on this, so right away you want to do everything right away, and that just gets you in trouble. I find the best cities are you build a little bit and kind of ponder it a little bit and build on it and ponder on it and build on it and ponder on it, and it kind of builds that way. That seems to work best for me. Let's go to the trains. Train station. I want to get one of those big train stations. See, that's a little too thing. They have some of the big ones. They have like 6. I'm going to get that off the workshop, I guess. Because what I want to do is I want to have like a main center in my big part of the city, probably right in here somewhere, where we have trains, passenger rails that connect to everything. This is like the main hub. And I want rails to go over to part of the city I'm going to build over here and all up here and all around here and over to this side over here. So this is going to be kind of my city right here. So this whole section of water, this is the center of my town, the water. I'm going to have ferry boats going all around from each one of these areas. All the residential and commercial and industrial, I want ferry boats. I want a lot of fishing boats. I want the water to be teeming with life and movement and activity. I think it's going to be really, really cool. And then, of course, I'm going to have, Collinsport up here, which will be kind of rural and set off from all the other roads. And they can have a passenger train line that goes through here that connects in and all sorts of things. I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun. I also want to do some heavy forestry on here. Now, this connects to this is all connected right here. So I may do some stuff down here as well. Actually, Collinsport may work down this way too. I don't know. That may be useful down here. I don't know. Okay, that's another good idea. Maybe I'll look about doing that. Make that kind of a rural. Yeah. Anyway, lots of ideas. The good thing about starting a brand new city is you have so many new ideas and so much excitement for what if I do this? What if I do this? What if I do this? Just all sorts of exciting things. When you're watching this video now, then I've already finished this whole map, and this is just an inset into the final thing. So I don't know what it's going to look like, but these are my plans for right now, and we will see how it all works out. But that's where we're at. I have 1,095 people right now. New buildings. Boy, I gotta find a mod that gets rid of that. I will have on this, on the little segment underneath this video, all the different mods I'm using on this map. And so you'll have that to take a look at. And so I am going to turn it back over to my future self as he explains what happened on the actual map. And I will see you soon. Thank you. Okay, so we are back in the present day. And again, here is my starting point. That's the starting area here. And here is my original roundabout. And this is the peninsula. A few changes from what I originally planned. As we could tell earlier, Collinsport is now down here. It's not up at the top. I put a different town up there, which we'll get to a little bit later. I don't have a city that's based on the Secret World. I went ahead and printed up some maps of that game. It didn't really lend itself to doing a City Skylines video because you have a handful of houses here and there, and then you got a small amusement park, and you got a college, and it didn't really kind of make sense for the game. So I didn't do that. I did some other towns. I had several other towns, though, I came up with some ideas for that we'll get into in detail later. I mentioned some industrial problems, and those stayed with me the entire game. I did something wrong. I think when I tried to unlock everything, I put some schools in. I never got any demand for any industrial at all, either heavy industrial or offices. So I found a mod on the Steam Workshop called Demand Master. And what you do is you can click on here and you can set these however you want. So I forced industrial demand up. Now, the problem with this is when you do this, you have to adjust everything else because, as we saw before, my residential was always really high. Well, now with this on, everything goes down. If I take off the fixed value, everything drops down to negative. So it's just kind of a, but this has been very helpful. I was able to get offices and industrial, which has been very, very helpful. So that was a big change for us. As we saw, we had our starting part of our town. I had a few little things up here. I had a little bit of commercial over here, and then I started a lot of residential over this way. And I continued with that. I went ahead and did more residential along up here. And then I continued over this way with my eastern suburbs. Let me show you what I did here. I went ahead and just connected. I wanted to stay within these freeways. And on this section over here, this is called Mulberry Square, I went ahead and did all of the efficient stuff, the eco-friendly stuff, which I like these houses. They're really cool looking. They get really nice. Plus, the good news on this is, oops, let me do this. Where's my rain intensity? Thank you. All right. It looks kind of dark. These roofs are kind of dark, and it looks kind of dreary too. So see, this looks kind of sad and dreary, which is kind of cool. I put in a big shopping area over here. I have the Home Depot and a Party City, Toys R Us, and Target, Barnes and Noble. So just some of the other stuff. I kind of overdid my commercial area throughout this entire city. I don't think I ever got above a 3% unemployment rate. Yeah, so I just love putting in commercial. I don't need that much commercial. So I continued that Mulberry Square up along here, along next to the freeway. On this side of the freeway, I put in a nice little area for education. I have a high school and elementary school, along with a lot of sports things. I put it all in one area, which I've done a couple other times too in this map. It came out looking really nice. Put in some more residential along here. And then what I wanted to do was put in some more fishing. So I put in these fishing areas along this way and here. And then over here, again, I'm only going to have high density on this peninsula with, I think, 4 exceptions, 4 little buildings I'll get to in just a minute. Because I want this to be where all the high-end stuff is. And all the other things are going to be small little villages. This is the area that the small villages come to buy their products, to go to do their art stuff, to their sightseeing things, to conduct business. Otherwise, they're in small fishing villages. So this is kind of the center of the entire region. And we're going to do a video on that in a few minutes. Over here, I had shown this a little bit earlier. I went ahead and created my oil industry, Ewing Oil, of course, which I always go with. It looks a little sparse because it's such a big area. I didn't really need that much space. This is actually pretty successful. 41,000 in profits, and then just dropped down to 18,000. And I think it goes up to about 60,000. I could boost this up as I need to, but it's pretty decent size. I got it pretty well balanced. Again, the industrial has never really taken off very well. I managed to get this stuff laid down, but all of them say we need workers. Everyone is kind of overeducated, I guess. So I've never been able to do that. I started putting in some more, rather than having this entire thing industrial, like, as the name implies, industrial island, I started putting in some housing. Put in a little neighborhood over here, a little neighborhood over here. The rail line does go around. What I did was I started experimenting too with some different kinds of neighborhoods. This is my standard neighborhood. I put in the little 2-lane roads and then just zone it all for this, and the same houses come up, and they don't really look like northern Maine houses, like that. So I started getting a little fancy down here. I tried this out. I laid out, instead of the regular road, I laid out these little, they call them alleys, 2-lane alleys, but they're really just kind of small roads. And I do that, and then I started to lay out, rather than entire sections for housing, I just started doing like little 2x2 and 2x3s and 3x2 areas to see what kind of things that would do for me. And surprisingly, the houses are really cool. Um, I did get the American Eclectic housing on the mod, which is on the Steam Workshop. And so they have a variety of different kind of houses. They're really interesting looking little houses, a whole wide range of them. Some Art Deco houses and a few uh, duplexes and things like that. All sorts of different styles, which you normally see in a town. They're very small, but they're really kind of cool. You can kind of get a lot of people in there because they're smaller houses. And I like that so much. I did it over here too. It takes a lot longer to a lot of duplexes here, which is perfect for kind of a low wage town. Uh, it takes longer to lay out because you have to click on, instead of just doing a whole thing green, you have to do like little tiny 2x2 things. But I do like this quite a bit. Let me show you one other thing too. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to click on this. And I also got something on the workshop for themes. And I've got my entire theme set for international for the entire city. But if I look at enable theme and for districts, you can click on different there's American Eclectic, Brooklyn, European. So you can get different types of housing. And for instance, let's take a look at what this is. Look at that. Oops, I want to take that off. Anyway, there's a way you can look at the houses in here. And you can actually choose, you can create your new versions of this too. So let me, yeah, here we go, Theme Manager. So American Eclectic, these are all the different types of houses that they have in the game. There's massive, there's 1x1s, so you can see 1x2s. Look how many there are. Look at this. Massive number of buildings, eco, all sorts of shops, commercial, all sorts of things. And they show the different sizes and the different levels you can level up to. And you can click on these things and create your own little subgroup that you want. So for instance, for Brooklyn, I found these on the workshop, and I created like a little subgroup over here. And what I did was I started to do that a little bit over here and start experimenting with that. So you can see, right, this city block has got that. There's these brownstones, these Brooklyn brownstones, and this little block over here the same way. Don't have enough demand to get these things going over here. But I really like this. It's kind of neat. So you can really do a lot of different theme stuff, which is really kind of a neat thing to do. So I've been experimenting with these different types of neighborhoods. The Brooklyn brownstones are good for inner city neighborhoods. Oops. And these little small buildings are for smaller, lower income neighborhoods as well. They're really cool looking. I really like them a lot. So that turned out pretty well. On the west side, we have West Side Heights, and I think in my video I'd shown a little bit of this already. I went ahead and expanded it over. I have basically 4 sections, and I do have a handful of high rises on this one stretch of road right here. That's the only high rises that are not in my main town. And I've got quite a few bus lines that connect all these things together. I created a park over here, which is all sports park. I got all sorts of sporting stuff, tennis and basketball and baseball and soccer and football, all sorts of things. So that turned out really well. And so that's this. Oh, I also started playing around with getting a little artistic on my roundabouts. That little park turned out really nice looking. I like that. I did that on several of these. Started getting a little fancy. Let's see here. Here's another one. I don't have a lot of statues, so I keep using that horse statue, but different types of things just to try and make it look a little interesting and a little different. So that's what I was working on for my main city. I have 0 traffic problems in the city. In fact, I've never had any traffic problems. 85%. I think it went down to 81% at one point. That was it. Because again, everything is low density except for my main downtown, which we're going to go into in just a second. And I did special pains to make sure that this looks pretty good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to watch the video that I did when I was first setting up my downtown area with all my transit system, including the trains and the buses and everything else. So we'll see that video, and then we'll go into downtown after that. So we'll be right back. Well, hello, everybody. This is Greg 29407, and I am, this is a flashback to an earlier version of my city, I'm guessing. If you're watching this, then my city is pretty much complete and probably much farther along than we are now. At this point, I have 9,200 residents in the game. This is what it looks like. This is the central part of my city. This is the side I've been doing all my residents, low level suburban residents, my industry island, and then not much else going on. What I want to talk about today, though, is my downtown area and what I've been doing so far. What I want to do is learn from the past, mistakes I've made in the past, and kind of go from there. What I did early on was I went ahead and put this train station in. I got this off the workshop, and it's modular. So this is the main train station. It comes one set of tracks going out, dual tracks. And then I got two more low. I could have done, a whole stack of these out here, but I found 3 was good. This first one's going to go up here, probably put a station up there, and then over and out that way. And this is all passenger train. The second one I've got looped over here, and it's going to go up this way somewhere. And then my third one I've got over here, and I've looped it around to, I'm going to probably put Collinsport down here somewhere, I think. That's what the plan anyway. So I've got that rail station. I've also got my my ferries. Right now I've got this ferry that goes to this one. This one, there's literally nothing up here except for the ferry boat and a windmill to keep the power. Same thing with this one up here. There's nothing going on yet. And then this one. And I'm going to do a couple more over here eventually. So I got my little ferries going. So what I want to do is have a nice downtown area where everything is easy to get to. I want to avoid traffic at all costs. My traffic right now is at 86%, which is great because I don't have very many people. And it's all very little high density. I've got a little bit of high density here, and a little bit here. I still have 0 demand for industrial or offices at all. I've had 0 on that because I once again, I did click on schools immediately, and anyway, that kind of messed me up. But what I wanted to do was have a downtown that was not going to be choked with traffic. And what I've got here is I got my train station here, and this ferry line, and I've got a nice road here and pathway. They can walk over this way as well. I got some bus line. I got lots of bus lines in this city. What I wanted to do though was I went ahead and did across this little main street here. I also placed a regular bus depot, and then the intercity bus station. Sorry about that. Intercity bus station, which we have a lot of passengers coming in from outside of town. It's only on this one set of line here. The one that goes, this is the one line that goes to outside of my town. And what will happen is a train will come through and it'll show some random city where they're going to. And once it said Las Vegas. So I was like, oh, I'm apparently on in real life Earth somewhere. So I don't know. So it's kind of cool. So what I've got is a little transportation depot here. I've got trains, and I've got local buses, and I've got intercity buses. And I did this little one-way street here that goes like this. So it's like a little loop here for buses. When I wanted to go ahead and do some more downtown stuff, I said, I'm going to put my other ferry on this side. So I want a direct route. I want it very easy for all of my residents to come in from trains or buses and then get to where they need to go. So I went ahead and took this little one-way street and kept the one-way going all the way up, all the way across to here. And the one-way street come all the way back this way. So this kept that one way. Let me go ahead and turn this on so you can see the arrows. So this is all one way. Now, also what I did was over on this side, my Old Town area, I have a lot of businesses over here. I've got stuff zoned for offices. Again, there's 0 demand for offices. But in order to combat any kind of traffic over here, I did a one-way street here, this way, and then back up this way. And I have 2 ways in this thing. I said, well, let me extend these 2 one-ways roads. So I did this one way up this way, and then I did this one way. I didn't want to do from here because it kind of went under the bridge, so I went Oh, I did this backwards. Ooh, I did this backwards. Yikes. Hang on. Let me, holy moly. I did not even pay attention to this. That was dumb. I just did this all last night. All right, so now, yeah. So now this one way goes this way, up, and then jogs back all the way down to this way. Let me fix my intersections here. Ooh, boy, that was dumb. Hang on 1 minute. Change this. We got that going. Okay, let's go ahead and fix my turn arrows. It's going to go that way. Okay. Make sure these all still look okay. Oops. That to go through. That to go through. That to pause. Okay. So that's what I did. So what happened was, if this one way goes up that way, comes back this way, this one way goes that way, and comes back this way. So I had this nice combination here, and what I did was I went ahead and put in a park right in where all the one-way roads are, right in the middle of all these one-way roads. It's a nice sized park. It's a little smaller than I thought it was going to be. It was a little harder to fit everything in. I put like a pond in here, and I've got all the basic buildings and stuff. And what I did was I went on the workshop and I got this building. This is the Vancouver City Hall. So that's my city hall. Looks very nice. And I went ahead. I also found this other building. This is the Amsterdam Palace, which is really kind of a lovely building. Kind of surrounded by some office buildings. Maybe I'm thinking about getting rid of those and making this kind of nice little yard area. I don't know. But what I also did was I wanted to go ahead and play some other things like the MAM Modern Art Museum, things I've seen in my last map. You may remember my last map of Prussian Peaks. I had like 8 of these unique buildings all clumped together in one place with only 2 entrances and 2 exits, and I had a traffic nightmare. So I'm trying to avoid that this time. I've got them in a nice big grid area, which is a downtown area. I put that one in. I have a government building here. I have the posh mall that came with the game. And I have the courthouse. The courthouse looks pretty neat. So what I'm trying to do here, also for the new Japanese Creator Pack, I took a downtown hotel. So what I'm going to do is maybe space some of these unique buildings and tourist-friendly buildings around a little bit more rather than plump them all in one spot. So I've laid out some streets. This is more of a grid area. I'm not going to have a grid city. I'm trying to do a little, well, this is kind of gritty because this is downtown area. What I'm trying to do with most of my city is kind of spread things out. It's a little gritty, but not completely. I've got some nice curvy roads and stuff. But a downtown area, at least in most cities, is going to be set up in a way like this. So I've got some big city blocks in this area. This will be some more roads here. This will be kind of uniform size. And then when we get over to the water's edge, the block gets smaller, and they're going to get a little tighter. I'm going to probably put another road right down the middle here. I actually put a little residential thing here, right next to this bridge. The idea is that at some point, this is probably some type of city dump or construction site, probably an EPA cleanup site, and they've cleaned up the best they can. It's still kind of low level, and they put in some new buildings, or they're building some new buildings as part of urban renewal. And so I'm going to have some more small offices, if offices ever gain any kind of demand for them. If not, it had to be stores. I am going to set aside some office space here with another street down here. So a little bit smaller, close to the water, close to the docks. This is the boat museum that came with the game. So I got that over here. I may put in some the dock restaurants, that kind of thing. And I'll fill this area in with some more offices and commercial, and make this really business oriented. I like the fact of having a downtown like this where I can kind of expand. This is offices here. Nice park here. This is residential. This will be all offices, commercial. This will be commercial and offices in here. Maybe a little bit of residential. This area over here, I've already done my quays, or keys, I guess. That's how you pronounce it, around here. This is going to be a big city park, like the Battery in Charleston. I've got the streets already laid out. This is going to be one big park with some nice walkways and things. And I think I'm going to do some high-rise residential along the edge, and along the edge, and maybe along the edge. And then I'll fill in with smaller houses and maybe some more offices or commercial, depending on what the need is. You'll know better than I do at this point what it looks like because you're from the future, and I haven't gotten any farther than this. But that's the plan, and that's why I laid it out this way. I think the one-way street, I don't like using one-way streets too often, but I think in this case, especially in a downtown area where it will help direct traffic more. So far, I've not had any kind of traffic jams at all, even though it's bringing in some decent number of people. So that is the plan for downtown. So I don't know how it looks in the future, but I hope it looks something like this. So I'll turn it back over to future me. Goodbye. Okay, we are back from the past, and here is my downtown area. Here's my train station here, and it goes to all my smaller towns. I've got it dotted around here. Here is my central area with my park and my city hall. As you can see, I was able to fill this in pretty well. Now, one thing, I had said I'm going to make all this residential, and I did, and it's actually a nice little area, all those high rises and everything. It turned out really, really good. Here's my Battery Park. Very nice, 5-star all the way. Very cool. But what I did find was, once again, I overemphasized how much, or overestimated how much commercial and industrial I was going to need. So what I ended up doing was filling in a lot of this with residential here, along here, and then all of this is residential as well. I still have space for more residential or commercial or industrial, but I didn't need as much of that as I thought I would. And in fact, over here I have very low demand for any more commercial at all. I'm forcing it, but it doesn't really want any more. It just doesn't want it. But it turned out really, really nice. I got this nice little park here, the different places for people to go. I got my bus line set up. Now, one thing, I did have to make one change to this. I wanted to go with buses and rail and ferries. And I didn't want to do any of my usual trams or subways. I did have to go with a subway line. So let me show you. One subway line. It connects from my ferry over to my trains, over to this area over here, over to this side of the town next to that ferry, loops back around into my downtown over here, where all my tourist stuff is, back over here in my business area, back over here in the high-rise area, and then around. I didn't need it for traffic. I did it because my buses were so overwhelmed with demand. Let me show this again. I have so many bus lines. I have 3 bus lines that just go north and south from residential down to all the commercial. Here's a bus line. Here's a bus line. Here's a bus line. I also have a bus line that goes from the train over here and back and forth like this, and another bus line that connects over here. I got lots and lots of bus lines. I have 2,300 people using my buses on a regular basis. These are all my bus lines I have. Most of them are fairly well used as well, especially the downtown ones. Here's my downtown ones: 248, 229, 168. And so I've got quite a few, and I just needed to go ahead and take care of that. In terms of my ferries, I do have my ferries attached here, to here, to here, to here, and back to here. And what I found is my ferries don't work as well as I had hoped. Let me show you. I have 3 ferry lines. The city center, I have 228 people on the ferry line. I always have a lot of people at this main ferry stop right here. 250 people. I've got a lot of ferries trying to connect them all. The rest of my ferry stops don't have a lot of people on them, to be honest with you. It seems like what's happening is that most people will get here and they'll take the ferry home, but when they want to come into downtown, they'll take the train. So they're taking the train into town, doing their business, and then taking the ferry home, which I find kind of interesting. but that's okay. That's fine. I also have another ferry line over on this side. It connects from my west side down to my oil, and then over to downtown as well. At first, this was a really, really busy one, and it's kind of gone down a little bit in terms of use. It was my number one for a while, 87. So it's still not terrible. Not as many people as I thought. A lot of people are taking their either car or the ferry to get over there. So that is we're at that. So the only problem was I haven't added the subway, but that's okay. Now, again, I did have more residential demand than expected, so that's why I went with more high rises. The high rises came out looking nice. I did want to stick to my guns, though. Turn this back on. I did want to stick to my guns and not have all high rises downtown. So I do have this area in here, which is the low rise stuff, and it seems to be a nice mixture of different types of housing. All right. So next, I want to talk about all the small towns, because the whole basis of this video and of this city was all these small towns that we want to have. And boy, oh boy, have I ever created a bunch of small towns. So I'm going to show you that video now of how I was going to lay out the small towns, and we will be right back. Okay, so here is where our town is at this point in the process. And then we have our main downtown area, which we've gone over before. My industry island and our West Side Heights, which is some more suburbs. The main part of the suburbs has been over here. I wanted to talk about all of our small towns I'm planning on making in the next few days or weeks, depending on how long it's going to take me. And it's all going to be based on a rail line. So let me go down here to where our rail lines start. We see a couple of trains coming to the station right now. That's pretty nice. There's one there, one there. We have 3 lines. I wish I had added a 4th, but I didn't realize that at the time. It's a little late now, so we'll just go with the 3. This is the first one. This is the main line. And this main line goes up this way, and it crosses the river over here. I also have a little ferry stop here that no one goes to right yet. I'm going to have this as a little small village, a fishing village. I may make this one my replica of Solomon Island from The Secret World. It does have this little bay here. I was planning on making it over here, but I think maybe it fits better on this area and then kind of crosses over. I have a little rail line here that goes over this way. They'll connect over. I have connected a highway from one side of the freeway section to the other side. But the rail line goes up this way, and it goes underneath the freeway, and then it kind of goes alongside the cargo rail line, and it goes up this way, and then it eventually goes off the map. What I'm thinking, though, is I'm going to do a little spur here, a passenger line spur over here, and may turn this into a lumber milling village type thing. I don't think I'm going to be able to get any kind of sea cargo on here because it's so far away. I'm going to try, but it may just be on cargo line. I'm going to take the cargo line up here as well. So that'd be kind of a nice area for that. I may turn this into my Shutter Island area. We'll see. Now, what I may also do is do another little spur that comes off down and comes back around this way. The reason for that is right above my West Side Heights, which is all going to be suburbs, I have this area right here, and I've actually connected over to the freeway because if you look at my natural resources, I've got a nice little vein of ore over here and a little bit of ore over here, and then some farming here. I could maybe do some orchards or something. Sorry about that. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do like a little industrial town over this way. So in that case, I don't need a rail line, passenger rail line, because they can take the highway down and over. I am trying to avoid having too much traffic on this main road here, though. So I think maybe a little rail spur that goes up along here and connects this way. It maybe just stops at this station, and then they can change trains to go back into town. That may be a good way of doing it. So that's my other idea for a town. So one here, then one way up there. On rail line number 2, I actually have it as a working line right now. I created this little town of Elberton. It's a fishing village, and it's very small, and it has its own rail station. And there's the train again. I'm actually getting some pretty good service here, 292 passengers last week. And all it's doing is going from here into downtown and back again. So it's really useful. This whole area is a little separate town. I'm keeping these woods here to keep this town separate from my suburbs. I want to be as a separate little village. I like the way this has turned out. You have the main road here coming in off the freeway, and when you get over here to where the rail lines are, the main road splits into two, and you come this way, and it goes underneath the rail lines and comes along here. And what you can tell here is this is like your little main street. You got the rail line here, and you got your little commercial district along here, both sides of the road here. Then your residents are headed down towards the water. You've got fishing down here with some commercial that ever comes in. I mean, some industrial that ever comes in, and some more fishing over here. Fishing docks. I've got everything set up. Then on the other side of the rail, where this road splits up, goes this way, and you have some more commercial and residential on this side. And if you've ever been to small town America, you've seen this many times. You have small downtown. The rail line goes right through the middle of downtown, and you have a little two-lane road on both sides of the rail, and occasionally they have a little spur road that goes over the rail and connects, like right here. And you have commercial on both sides, and then some residential on both sides. So I really like the way this has turned out. It's a nice little area. I got some things zoned for offices if that ever comes in. We'll see. I would like to do this as industrial, but again, no industry. No industry, no offices, and it's been that way since the beginning. So we'll see if we can turn that around a little bit. So I got some room for growth here. This rail, though, right now it just kind of it just goes this far and doesn't go any farther. But I did connect the rail farther up here, and it just kind of dead ends right here right now. Again, here's the other little town I'm going to build. This area right here is, I was thinking about doing some more industry because there is more ore here, but I don't know I need another industry town. This is a nice big flat high area, so I'm thinking about doing a little regional airport here. It'd be a nice spot, not the giant airport we just got in the new build, in the new DLC, but just the regular small one runway, or is it two runway airport we have now. Maybe put that up here. I'm also thinking that perhaps what I should do is do a small trade school college up here, maybe right over here, maybe right down here, right next to the airport. I don't want to do a massive campus like we've done in the past because there's no. I've got 18,000 people living in this whole area. I don't want a big college. I want a small little college, just enough to get some college graduates that can maybe create some type of demand for office space, so I can get some kind of industry in here. I think a small kind of a community college trade school thing would look nice. Just a handful of buildings, not very much, not the full boat. It won't be a 5-star college at all, maybe a 2-star college. That would be perfectly fine. Just something to have a few college graduates in this particular area. And maybe some little supporting buildings around here. Maybe some fishing stuff. I don't know. Maybe put some fishing over here or something. We'll see. And then the rail could continue up along here. I don't have any plans for that right now. Then the third line that we have was the result of me not planning very well ahead. It doesn't go anywhere right now. I've continued up this way, and then it separates from the other line. It comes down around here, over the cargo line, comes along over the cargo line, and this is the road, the rail I want to take to Collinsport, the replica of the town from Dark Shadows, the TV show. And I've got this area mapped out for it. I was going to do it up where I'm going to do my forestry thing, but I think it fits better down here. We got this mountain up here. I found a castle, a giant mansion, European castle that I'm going to put up here as Collinwood itself. And I got some ruins for the old house. And right off of Widow's Leap, where Josette Dupre leaped to her death when she saw her fiancé Barnabas Collins had risen from his grave as the undead. So that's the kind of atmosphere I'm going for here. So what I'm hoping to do is I've got the rail line. It comes this way, and you can see it kind of goes along the water through this heavy forest. It kind of meanders over here. And what I'd like to do is have like the main center right in here, maybe the train stoppage right here. Collinsport is going to be mainly a fishing area and forestry. So I got room for a little forestry industry over here, but a lot of fishing. The Collins family made their money in shipbuilding. And originally I was going to put the shipping thing right here. Then I realized I'm going to get so much traffic from delivery trucks and everything bringing from all the different industries bringing along here. This is going to be jam-packed, and it does not match the goal that I have, which is this small, weird, spooky, half-abandoned town where all sorts of creepy things go on. Now if you got like truck drivers coming through here 20 times a day. So what I'm thinking of is that the Collins family generations ago sold their shipping industry that had been making money on for 200 or 300 years to a big conglomerate who promised to keep the old shipping thing set up, but of course they didn't. They shut it down. So maybe I'll put the little shipping factory down here, and I'll have it turned off so it's abandoned. Put a few warehouses down here, maybe make it look kind of weird. I'll continue to lay the rail through here and have it on broken tracks and just pieces of track going along here, and just shows kind of the degradation of a small town like that, and the creepiness and the forlornness of everything. So, and again, a lot of fishing stuff and everything. This is not gonna that mansion I've got. It has a big circle for tourism. I don't want to have a lot of tourism. I want this to be way off the beaten path. I'm going to have a single 2-lane road that goes along the rail line. That's the only way in and out of town. It's a dead end. It's a dead end. That's what I want. I may end up putting in a little farming industry in here too, but we'll see. If so, then I'll have a little spur off of that. So maybe I'll have a passenger line for that, and these guys will be close to the cargo. So that is it. That is my plan for these small towns. I don't know how they're going to turn out, or if I change my mind again completely. We'll see. But that's the plan for right now. So we will see you soon. Okay, we are back. Let's start off with Elberton, which I had shown in my flashback video. Not a lot of changes here. This town's worked pretty well. The one thing I did do was I went ahead and add this section over here. I never got all the industrial stuff. But I did find this building on the workshop, which is some kind of old warehouse building, which I thought was kind of neat for this area. I added some more streets, and I did my small alleyway streets with smaller houses over here, as you can see. And this turned out really nice. It added my population a little bit, but it becomes more of a blue-collar town. This train line is done very, very well. And as I showed in my video, I connected it up, and it just kind of dead-ended up here. Up here, I added my airport, and this airport does pretty well. I kept it a small airport, and I didn't want to do anything super big because it's a smaller area. I have my train station right here. I also have a train track that can continue on. I didn't continue anything past I could have. I could keep working on this map forever, but what I did up here was I went ahead and added another power plant. I did some wastewater management and another recycling center. So I wanted to make sure that everything wasn't being focused on downtown. So there's like a nice little industrial area. So I was going to do a little bit fancier stuff with some fencing and some parking, but I didn't get around to that. So that is for that line. Oh, I also added a college that I talked about maybe doing a college up here. I did it down here next to the train line. I did a little small college. It's the tech college, and it's a 3-star. I only put in 2 of the main buildings. I did the School of Engineering and the Police Academy. There's the only 2 I did. Here's the main building here, and it's a nice little campus. It's the campus attractiveness was holding us back. I got over 1,000 students though. Lots of academic work, so they're really going hard. I left enough space over here to add on to it, but I think this kind of serves my needs. I put in this little neighborhood here, which is for all the professors and any of the off-campus student housing and just the usual things you would see that would build up around a college campus. I may put some more housing in here at some point to fill in that area. Now, the next city I want to go over is the one that's directly across the river from my downtown. And I had shown this before, where it's just a little single ferry stop and nothing else. And I'm calling this Boyles Inlet. And Boyles Inlet got kind of big. It's all of this area. It backs up to the campus area. And so you can see it's decent size. It got a little big on me. And there's also some oil natural resources. So I went ahead and added Barnes Wentworth Oil. It's a little bit smaller oil company. It still makes a nice little profit, but it's not as big as Ewing Oil. I put that over here for some jobs for some of these folks. And what I did was I put in my main street. And the main street goes on both sides of the road, just like in Elberton, with some commercial area and then residential. Lots of fishing, again, because this is all, you're living on the river. You have a lot of fishing stuff. So lots of different types of fishing style things. I was on this main road only for a while. I put in a big shopping center over here with an at-home, IKEA, Best Buy, Party City, and Ashley Home Furnishings. And what I then did was I also continued across this highway to put in some more residential, because I need lots of residential. And I have my rail line continue on through Elberton. Through Boyles Inlet and up. And I had this as a raised thing, so I raised the rail line over here. I also had a little side spur for industrial for all the oil. So the oil plants are turning everything over here. And what I did was I created a little railway park, which is a really nice looking, large park, decent size for walking trails, more of a nature thing. This rail line goes on up to a town which we will get to a little bit later. And then we also have a spur off of Boyles Inlet. The one goes up and then one comes back south. And this is the town that I had shown earlier, or an area I showed earlier for a possible other town. I call it Hemlock Hills. Hemlock Hills has quite a few people in it, 2,600. And it's all based around this ore manufacturing plant, which turned out really, really cool. It's up on a steep hill. And I went ahead and put in a lot of time on this one. I really like the look of this. It's really kind of cool looking. It looks like in a really heavy-duty industrial thing. Lots of trucks and traffic, and they're just tearing through the ground like that. It's really cool. Here's the main building up here. But the Hemlock Hills people are the ones who are supporting that, and that's the whole basis for this town. The passenger rail line comes here. There's the industrial rail line over here for all the ore itself. Again, I laid out a nice small town. They have their own ferry line, of course. This is the part of that overall ferry line I put in over here. And I start off with a little park with next to City Hall, some commercial buildings all in here, and some offices. Residential over here, residential all over here. And then I did my little smaller residential area with the alleys again, which I really like. Again, they take forever to do, but it really looks kind of nice. I put in some more fishing as well, fishing factories and everything. And then I made a big park. This is Shadow Falls Founders Park. The idea behind this is the original town right here. This is where Shadow Falls first was founded. And it was too small and too maybe swampy, so they relocated across the bay over here to downtown where it is now. And then this became more of a bedroom community and manufacturing area. So this park turned out really, really cool. I like this a lot. This actually had some ruins already sitting here, so I just kind of added to that and made it kind of a ruinous looking thing. Here's the original footprint of downtown, and have some nice little parks and places to go. It's a very popular park. Lots of people here, lots of parking spaces taken up. Just really big, really nice. I like this quite a bit. Having this passenger rail go up and then around to downtown keeps all these people from taking this highway down and over here and blocking my freeways and highways. So that's really good too. They do have a way onto the freeway here if they need to use it, and they can get across to the ore in two different ways, either at the freeway or over the freeway here. And then let's go ahead and talk about Collinsport, which we have down here. Collinsport, I wanted to build this, my first town I wanted to build. Sorry about that. I have my rail station here, and to Dupre Park after Josette's family. It's a very small little park. Again, it's going to be all fishing villages. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different fishing ports right here. All small town, all small housing. Down here, again, I went ahead and added another rail station. This is for commercial industrial rail. It's really being used just for the fishing stuff. Down here was a shipyard. I've got it turned off because, again, as I mentioned in my video, the Collins family sold their shipping port and it was shut down, and the whole town went into a depression. I went ahead and created this little area over here. This was a old warehouse. Look at this old parking lot, how abandoned and run down it is. It's useless. It's been empty for decades. No one ever uses it at all. This whole area is all rocky. This is where we have our sewer system. It's just run down mess, and just exactly what I was looking to do. Up along the main road, along the ridge, though, if you turn this road up this road, then you get to Collinwood itself. And first you get to the old house, the ruins of the original Collins family house, where Barnabas Collins liked to spend a lot of his time. And then here's the main house itself. Again, this is a mansion that I found on the workshop. This thing has a huge amount of tourists. You can get up to 3,000 tourists. And I had this thing turned on for a while. That's why I put these parking lots. I actually had a bus line that just went from here down to the train station, and this thing was packed. I turned it off because it was just kind of going way too far. I didn't want any of that. I want this to be a kind of a small, depressed little town, not a tourist area, and the Collins family shouldn't have all those people coming into town anyway. Turn that back on. So, I had this street down through the woods, and what I also wanted to add in was I wanted to do some farming. So what I did was I added this little area. We look at our thing here, you can see I have a lot of, I went ahead and got this looking really, really, for natural resources, fertile land. And I went ahead and laid out a big primrose orchards. I have also all the farming stuff, the cattle and the slaughterhouse and all the fields, mainly apple fields. I have wheat. I don't know if they grow wheat in Maine, but we'll just pretend like it's some other kind of crops. So calculating this out was the best I could do. I wanted it all balanced out. This is the only place I ever had any kind of traffic at all. It wasn't terrible, but it's a little more than I like. I tried to limit that a little bit. Next to that, I created this little interesting little area. Again, I did my patented little thing with the small 2x2 houses. I separate out by a lot of space, and there's all dirt roads. And what I then did was I put in little fence spaces to make these people have acreage. They're living on 2 to 5 acres, and maybe they're going to do a little farming in their backyard kind of thing, which I liked a lot. Up here, right across the railroad tracks, you can drive across here. We'll drive across here. We have the town of Gatlin. Where's the city name? Let's here. There we go. Sometimes it gets clicked off. Right across from the rest of downtown is the town of Gatlin is a farming community. If you're a Stephen King reader, you may recognize it as the town from Children of the Corn. That was in Nebraska. We're in Maine, so it works. You know, it's a farming community. Local small little farms, with the little individual houses in between. A lot of greenhouses. I try to make some little fake farms over here. And then a little bit more of the small house and dirt roads. So this is where Children of the Corn would take place, or maybe Children of the Apple Orchards for this, depending. I could continue on as we need to. I could also continue adding on to this over here. I thought about putting in a little pond over here and connecting this, but maybe another train station over here, but that's another option. So another little creepy area. Again, where's my rain at? Thank you. Yeah, rain turns on and turns off by itself. I want everything looking wet and slick and morose and dark and dingy. All right, so that is almost everything that I've got. But I do want to do I had a couple of other things I added to the northern part of this. So let me go ahead and show you a video on on the northern town that I have up here, and I will be right back. So here we are back in Shadow Falls, about midway through our build, and I wanted to go over today how I'm building one of my small towns. Decided to do Twin Peaks from the famous TV show. As I'm building all these small towns, I thought, oh yeah, that's a town that takes place in kind of the cold and foggy and rainy area, and with lots of mysterious goings on. They're set in Washington State, of course, and this city I'm creating is in northern Maine, but what the heck, I'm going to do it anyway and take some liberties with the source material. So I want to go ahead and do Twin Peaks in here, and that's what I've got set up here. Now, rather than just like some of my other cities, just kind of lay down some roads and just do some stuff, I went ahead and did a little bit of research. I went online and I found some maps for Twin Peaks itself, even though it's a fictional town. I don't know if this is from the producers or if this is fan generated, but they've got a map of the city here. And so what I did was, this is the upper part of my map. The rest of my city's down here. And so I came up here, and I knew I wanted to do some forestry up here in this area anyway, which is perfect for this. And I went ahead and used my various landscaping tools, and I've got this map, and it shows they have a black lake, which is a lake that goes off their map, and then has like a little inlet that goes down this way. And there's also Pearl Lakes, which looks kind of like this. So I went ahead and created those out in the forest. We already had the rail line that goes up and goes off the map here, so I just left the rail line the way it was. The Twin Peaks themselves, I went ahead and just created. This is Whitetail Mountain. Maybe it's not so much of a peak. Yeah, they're good size. They're not bad. They're good size. And then this is Blue Pine Mountain. And then I placed a couple other little mountains around here. Maybe I add a few more little bits and pieces that don't kind of stand out like a sore thumb. What I did was I created a road connecting from my other city, going up here. Most people are going to take the rail, and this rail connects down to my downtown area, so we'll have some direct passenger rail right on down. According to the Twin Peaks map, the rail goes up through the middle of town like this, over the lake and over, and then there's another rail that goes this way, which is perfect. That's where I'm going to have my forestry. So I've got the rail set up this way, and I'll have a little forestry train station over here. And what it also shows is we have Main Street, like a lot of our other towns. We have a Main Street on both sides of the rail. So I put my train station here, and according to the map, Town Hall should be right around here, and the Giant Log, which I guess is a store of some type, and Big Ed's Gas Farm is up here. And the Twin Peaks High School is over here. The Great Northern should be somewhere right over here or right over here. Probably right over here, maybe. And Packard's Mill. I may have to relocate that over here to be closer to the forestry. And the town is divided in two halves. Basically, this side is a lot of residential, and this side is a lot of residential. And what I did want to do was I've got a government building down here I took the tax office. That is the fill-in for town hall for Twin Peaks. According to the maps, on this side of the rail, it kind of breaks off like this into like three little parallel roads that go this way. So I'm going to have this. I've got this zoned as a little bit of commercial and offices. I don't want to have a lot of commercial. I got way too much commercial. I need a lot more residential. So most of this is going to be residential. Almost all of this is going to be residential. And so this is like the main part of town. I did a narrow 4-lane road up this way because this may be a busy road. I have two connections to get to the other side of the trail. This one goes right over the rail line itself, so you have to do a little stop there when the train comes by. This one goes over, so we have a way just in case the trains get backed up. And so this 4-lane road is going to go around the outer edge. And I think there's a 4-lane road, and this will go over here and connect everything else. And that music only gets loud when I'm doing videos. I can hear that music like crazy. normally when I'm playing this game without the headphones on and without recording at all, I don't even hear the music at all. It's like, where's the music? Where's the sound effects? And then when I put these headphones on and start recording, suddenly we have an entire band in my house. It's amazing. So anyway, back to this. So we got some commercial along the main street, of course. Now, right over here is going to be the Double R Diner. So that's why I got commercial here. The Roadhouse is going to be over here, so that's commercial here. The Sheriff's Department is going to be somewhere over here for some reason. It seems like the Sheriff's Department on the main road, but, you know, is whatever they do. A lot of the roads that they've got on this map, aside from the main roads, seem to be kind of done randomly and not very well. So I'm gonna leave this part, which is what the map shows. Everything I do out of here is going to be more artistic interpretation of Twin Peaks. I'm going to have not as many roads, and the roads are going to make a little bit more common sense. I will have my forestry over in this way, and they have a few other items over here that I'm going to put in. Now, this road here, it goes through Twin Peaks, and then it kind of stops because I can't run it off the edge of the map. I may do another little town up here, some type of mountain village or something. I don't know. I was thinking about doing Wayward Pines. If you ever saw that TV show, season 1 was really good. I didn't bother with season 2. Of course, that takes place like 1,000 years in the future, but maybe I'll build a older version of Wayward. I don't know. We'll see. I'm thoroughly enjoying doing these little cities. This is the one city where I am following a guideline, which I'm enjoying. The other ones were all I just kind of made them up myself. They're fictional towns, but I just made up the layouts for them myself. This is a little bit more fun because I'm kind of adapting something that someone else has already done. Sorry about that. And so this will be the final city. I'm done with that. What is this thing? What is that? Oh, that's the name. Oh, that's weird. Name is, for some reason, looks very, very weird. Let's see here. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, I'm not saying there are a few bugs and everything in here, but yeah, that's where the name comes in. So yeah, so I've got it laid out for a big area. It's not going to be that full, but I'll have maybe a couple of thousand people living here. So we'll see. So that's going to do it. That is how I did this one particular town, using some already existing art available to me. So I'll take you back to the final result of the entire Shadow Falls map. Okay, here we are, and here is the final city of Twin Peaks. As you can see, I kept the main layout as it was. I added the roads over this way and a bunch of roads over here, so it looks very similar to the map that I found online. Their streets are a little bit different and stuff, but it works. It matches the basic idea. I've got a park over here, Barlow Gardens. I named that after Mr. Barlow from Stephen King's Salem's Lot, so I'm kind of borrowing things from different places. Here is the Twin Peaks High School. Here is the Great Northern, which is our resort. Very nice. Lots of mysterious stuff in the woods surrounding town. I went ahead and put in my own little power station and water treatment plants. I think the two peaks look pretty good. Let me. Yeah, it's not too bad. See, there's the peaks, Twin Peaks, and the lake has been between those. Then over here, I went ahead and created a Twin Peaks forestry, and this has been pretty popular, pretty profitable for me. Does really well. And I got all my fields. It's all I did all the conifers because this is kind of the area for conifers. I got all balanced out pretty well so that it doesn't. I'm not doing any importing. Exporting a little bit of raw resources, but overall it's doing really well. And this took off right from the start. Again, small houses. Let's see here. I did a lot of this, the little 2x2s and 2x3s and stuff. Did bigger houses over here. This is where the rich folks live. I have a few rich people over here as well. But yeah, basically just a really nice community. Except for all the unexplained stuff like Bob and stuff going on. But otherwise, yeah, really nice community. We've got 4,400 people living here, so it's not so tiny. The last thing I want to go over, though, is the last ferry stop that I did. I have another ferry that goes from Hemlock City, Hemlock Hills, up to Shutter Island from the movie of the same name. And this is my most recent thing I just finished up. Here's where the ferry stop is. The only way to get to this island is by ferry. There's no other way of getting here. Everything is by ferry. I went ahead and added this little key right over here. I raised the land over here. I'm practicing for my next city already. Put a bunch of rocks in here to kind of protect my ferries from the raging river. And so you come in here and you take the road. It has its own water treatment plant, wastewater, and then water collection from our towers. Here's our own recycling plant, our police station, our fire station. You take the only road in the entire island, and here is a little short, tiny little neighborhood. Here's a lighthouse, not the main lighthouse, but a little secondary lighthouse. This is for all the security guards and the doctors and the nurses and the staff of Shutter Island. Here's the one and only cemetery. And then here's the entrance to the Shutter Island Institute for the Criminally Insane. It's all surrounded by a giant wall. This is actually a repurposed version of the Liberal Arts College. And I've got the walls around the entire thing. I put like a little two-way alley road around. I have lots of watchtowers to keep all the inmates inside. Very lovely in here. Oh, let me again. Too lovely. There we go. Dark and dreary. So yes, this is the entire institute, the asylum. Here is the security office, the cafeteria. Here's the psychiatric administrative building. Here's the outdoor gardening therapy building. Here's the female dormitory, minimum security dormitory, minimum security. Here's the recreation hall. And if things get out of hand, you go to this side of the campus. We have the maximum security dormitory, which was where one character for the movie was in. I won't give it away. And if that doesn't work, then you're over here in the experimental laboratory. Yes, where one character ended up by the final. Most of the island is not really unexplored, but raw and wooded, just like in the movie. Lots of weird stuff. And then down here is the lighthouse that played a big part in the movie. In fact, this is probably the camera angle that they use a lot in the movie itself, right here. And Leonardo DiCaprio was pretty convinced that something was going on in his lighthouse, and he had to cross all these rocks and stuff to get to it to find out what's going on, what the big secret is on the island. So that is my island. And surprisingly, I just put this just for show, but surprisingly, I have 578 quote-unquote students, and the campus is great. If I get some academic works off of this, which maybe I should try and do, I'll get up to a 2-star Institute for the Criminally Insane, which would be kind of cool. So that is it. That is Shadow Falls. I did most of the things I wanted to do, and the things I didn't do for a reason. And I think the town turned out better than I thought. It turned out better than I expected. I'm really happy with the rail system. I wish I had used more than 3 rails, but that's okay. It worked really well. No traffic problems at all. My downtown area looks great. I love all my little side cities I've got. I've got like 5 of them. And I could keep going. I've only got 51,000 people, but I think I've done it. I've done what I wanted to do. Plenty of room for growth if I feel like it, but I think this is it. So that is it for Shadow Falls. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've, again, about 85 hours put into this. I really enjoyed doing it over the last, I guess, 2.5 months or so. And it's just been a lot of fun doing. So until next time, this is Greg 29407 saying arrivederci, and I will see you in my next city. I already have an idea for it. I will keep that to myself for right now, but we'll see you then. So sayonara.